Hey, how's it going, everybody? Thanks for tuning back into another video. I'll try and make this one quick for you guys, but we're going to cover a lot of really interesting stuff. So we have a lot of different articles that I want to get into that are pretty bullish news, and we're going to take kind of more of a bird's eye macro view of the more business related stuff. That's the stuff that really interests me when I'm researching cryptos. You get into, coming from a background in trading, traditional securities, traditional equities in the stock market, you look at these financial sheets, you look at how the company is performing. Well, in crypto, it's a bit different, and you really have to look at the utility of these tokens, where their customers located, how can the customers that they are reaching out to, or these different blockchains, how can they actually provide value to their tokens, especially for you as an investor. How do you make money by buying one of these tokens? It may be the best project ever, but if it has no real, I guess, utility in terms of for the investor, it has no real return mechanism. What's the point in us being even an investor in that blockchain in the beginning, unless it provides some sort of, philanthropic sort of deal or something like that. There's plenty of different projects doing that sort of thing. But this is speaking purely from a business perspective and an investment perspective. So that's kind of what I want to get into. One thing first, we're going to get into the Bitcoin TA. So here we are, we're looking at the 4 hour, and you can see that we closed 6 candles above the 200-day EMA. This is short term, very bullish. I'm very happy to see this. We haven't seen this in months. So probably, when was it? Like May time? May 11th. So this is good news. This is definitely good bullish news. We're testing, I believe this is like the 0.38 fib level in here if you're drawing it from the bottom up. I guess I can do that for you if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so you're looking at testing off the 0.382 level here. We bounced off the 0.5. It definitely gave us really nice support, so that was good to see. One of the biggest things is, when are we going to see a correction, from these steps up that we've seen the past couple of days? That's something that I expect us to see at some point, and this definitely does not have to hold this 200-day. As we've seen in the past, it definitely didn't hold for very long in the past. We cut through it like butter. So be aware, we're definitely on the more oversold side of things, or overbought side of things in the RSI. It looks as though the MACD on the 4 hour is sort of tapering off. So, maybe we're going to see a bit of a correction in Bitcoin coming up in the next few hours. But if we look at the 1 day, we're actually doing pretty good. And we definitely have a nice bullish divergence going on right here. We had the crossover, and we're definitely seeing some nice price action, as you can see here with these candles, and we're sort of hovering right in the middle on the RSI. We're quite a ways off from the 200-day EMA. So when I was talking about the 4 hour, I was talking about the 200 candle EMA, obviously. When I go out to the 1 day, we're quite a ways away from the 200-day EMA. So just keep that in mind. That's somewhere around the $8,030 mark, somewhere in there. Just keep that in mind. This is looking bullish for the short term for sure. I'm definitely excited to sort of see what happens. We have a lot of big news, so we'll just jump into the news for now. This is really cool. So crypto exchange Gemini hires former New York Stock Exchange tech chief. So this guy named Robert Cornish is going to serve as Gemini's first chief technology officer. The exchange is, Gemini was obviously founded by the Winklevoss twins. If you guys aren't aware of who those guys are, very prominent names in, not only the stock market due to Facebook and everything that they had to do with that, and then also within the crypto markets, because they obviously own Gemini. But they announced Friday that Cornish would be in charge of Gemini's technology team and strategy. Furthermore, Cornish will be overseeing the deployment of the Nasdaq's Smart Market Surveillance, a benchmark for real-time and T1 solutions for market surveillance. So this is actually really, really important, because a lot of people, ever since we saw this all-time high of 20,000, remember that's when the futures markets came out. And everybody's been talking about how the futures market ruined Bitcoin, ruined crypto. It's all over. All the manipulation is just a bunch of crap. Well, now what is happening is this guy, Robert Cornish, is going to be leading the charge for Gemini, because it says the market surveillance project will enable Gemini to monitor across all of its order books, as well as Gemini auctions, which are used to determine the settlement price for Bitcoin USD futures contracts that trade on CBOE. So this is really important because the CBOE is obviously the biggest futures settlement house in the crypto world, and they just hired one of the, more prominent names coming from the more traditional markets. Not only is that a good news for the crypto markets by saying, listen, we are going to start monitoring all of our books, our order books, to make sure that everything is, looking legit. But we're also bringing on one of the more prominent names in, traditional finance. We're bringing on Robert Cornish, who used to be the New York Stock Exchange Chief Information Officer. That's a big deal. So this is really good news for crypto as a whole, I think. And it's good for the manipulation deal that everybody's been crying about for a while. Guys, it's going to happen. It's a tiny market. The crypto market is worth 200 and something billion. And that's, what is that? Maybe 1/3, 1/4 of the size of Apple, one company. So we have to remember that these big whales are going to come in and manipulate. And it's a good thing to see for us retail investors who don't have, $200 million to throw into crypto, to see that they're going to start monitoring their books and really dig deep into that. And then especially with someone legitimate like Robert Cornish. So that's good to see. But then that brings me to my next thing about the sort of bad players in the market with the manipulation is this article has to do with comparing the crypto markets to the dot-com bubble. And we've heard this a million times in the past. Oh, crypto is just like the dot-com bubble. Everybody's screwed. You lost all your money. Just get out. I find those arguments funny, but, basically it says that, we can just read some of this. So the report argues that blockchain industry is setting up parallel financial networks that exist as alternatives to incumbent systems in operation today. And while these new platforms still operate on the fringes of the mainstream economy, Bernstein's authors say that with size and scale, we will witness mainstream talent, which is very important, and then eventually mainstream capital diverted towards these new markets. And that is extremely, extremely important. First, the talent will come. And we are seeing that. Guess what? Robert Cornish, we've been talking about this on the channel for a while, is all of these big names coming over from JP Morgan, coming over from Charles Schwab, whatever it is, or even Circle purchasing $400 million worth of Poloniex when they bought Poloniex. It's like the talent is coming. And then what happens is once the talent is here, developing legitimate products for people, for customers, then comes the capital being diverted. And we're already seeing a lot of this capital and the accumulation phases within certain cryptos, but it's a lot harder to see it because we've talked about the OTC markets, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a lot harder for us to actually see the accumulation with these big whales and the big investors, but you will start to see the retail capital get diverted once the mainstream talent has produced a product that the mainstream retail investor wants to see. And a big example of that would probably be a retail ETF of some kind. Or once you start using these products on a daily basis, your phone is somehow linked to the blockchain, like what was it, Samsung or someone's trying to do that. I forget. I've researched too many of these darn cryptos. But let's see. So it says to see the fundraising landscape as scam prone and with regulatory skepticism fails to recognize it as a market-based innovation experiment to build out a new financial system. And the 24/7 trading markets act as a natural correction system for the bad actors, unlike the dot-com bubble, where the feedback for weak business models came with lag. Crypto markets build and destroy fortunes every day. So that's really the last thing I wanted to read about this article was, listen guys, crypto is going 24/7. It does not sleep. And this is super, super important because with the dot-com bubble, people, investors, venture capital firms, they were throwing tons and tons of capital into these awful business models. And there was really a major lag because they didn't know that these awful business models were awful at the time. Because if these companies went public, there was a big lag, especially due to the fact that the stock market sleeps on weekends. It sleeps in the afternoon. You have after hours trading in some cases, but the crypto markets are cranking all the time. And yes, you can still get stuck into like these venture capitals can still get stuck into some bad business models, of course, but there's 24/7 trading. And when that happens, it really opens up it really, dissipates the lag is what I'm getting at. And this is what this article is really saying is the crypto markets build and destroy fortunes every day. Even on weekends, guys, even on Sundays. So this is another thing about talent. So Facebook has a new director of engineering for blockchain. This is really important as well. I don't really need to talk on this too much, but it says the social media giant has appointed one of its senior engineers, Evan Cheng, as its first director of engineering blockchain. The new position was first reported by TechCrunch and confirmed by Facebook on Thursday. So yeah, this is a couple days old as well, but this is just good news for the community and cryptocurrencies in general, because when you have one of the biggest companies in the entire world and they're announcing that they have a new director of engineering for blockchain, that is important. When Amazon is saying, yeah, we're getting into blockchain, that's important, guys. So we'll just kind of move on. It's all bullish news. It's all good. So Swiss Stock Exchange to tokenize securities with new DLT platform. This is one of the most interesting projects to me that I've seen. And it says an announcement on Friday, Six Swiss Exchange said it will build the new initiative dubbed Six Digital Exchange on a distributed ledger utilizing its technical experience or expertise. Sorry, guys, I'm struggling to read this. In operating a large-scale financial infrastructure. So what is really, really interesting to me on this one, however, the exchange noted that the goal of the platform is not for trading cryptocurrencies, but rather a marketplace where traditional investors can digitize their assets using the technology. This is super, super interesting to me. This is really powerful. We've talked about 0x. I know that they're kind of going along this route as well, but this is super powerful because this is sort of a derivatives market. If you're familiar with, stock trading, derivatives trading, what they're going to do is they're going to sort of start to digitize everything in your life, whether that's your house, whether that's your car, whatever it is. And you can tokenize those assets and ultimately we'll see what their ideas are for this, but maybe profit, maybe, loan these cars out, whatever it is. I don't know. I'm not on these blockchain teams, but this is really important because this is the beginning of a new era for capital market infrastructures. For us, it is abundantly clear that much of what is going on in the digital space is here to stay and will define the future of our industry. The financial industry now needs to bridge the gap between traditional financial services and digital communities. So this is cool. I'm really, really excited to kind of see what all these derivative products sort of look like. Once again, it's good news. Big companies are coming in. And I don't even want to talk about this. Markets rally with 7K Bitcoin. It's good news, guys. Like everything is really positive. I'm really excited about what is happening. Yes, we're sitting maybe a bit lower than we like at 6,700 or whatever it is. But we're going to see this look like nothing. So if we go back in time, when in 2014, whenever that last big bull run was, you can't even see it on the chart. I mean, like, this is going to look like nothing, guys. Like, it's going to be fine. This market is here to stay. And so am I on this channel. So please continue coming back and keep watching these videos. Leave a thumbs up. If you like the content, leave a comment if you have any questions. And with that said, guys, I'll catch you in the next video. Take it easy, everybody.